what's underneath. So we've got these two major lobes of liver that are supposed to be filled with lipid and help the shark to remain buoyant. You guys a few of you were at Dr. Gago's talk the other day hearing about sharks, and there's this kind of mythology that sharks don't get cancer, and this is why people should eat products from sharks because it's somehow going to protect them against cancer. Turns out not to be true, right? There's quite a few documented cases of cancer in sharks. Okay, so what else should we be finding in here? A stomach. A big, giant stomach. This shark really does not look in good shape. This is the good one? Yeah. I really don't want to mess up your nice scalpel here. So let's open up the stomach.
Fishy?
And what are we going to find inside the stomach? A license plate. What are those? What's the drawing showing you inside the stomach? Oh, there is something in the stomach. I don't know.
Crab.
It's kind of like that.
Oh, that's cute.
Something in the shark's stomach that we can check out later.
Nice.
And what's this stuff?
Folds.
Yeah, those folds are called rugae. Right? You guys learned about that before.
So this is supposed to be inside.
Yeah, so the rugae is supposed to be inside the stomach. Man, this is a pathetic looking shark. Okay, let me go over to this guy for a second. There's a huge stomach over here, and the rugae are kind of up towards the anterior end. Right? This is a lot bigger, easier to see. And when you get down to the J turn of the stomach, you find this nice triangular shaped organ.
The spleen.
The spleen, exactly. It's supposed to look nice and dark. And in our diseased guy over here, it does kind of look dark, but it doesn't look like a nice triangular shape, which it's supposed to have. So I'm going to take out all the sharks we have so that you guys can compare them later on. The spleen in a shark is really obvious. It's a big triangle that's attached to the J curve of the stomach. And then when we make that turn, that J turn in the stomach, now what are we into? The intestine. What's that first part of the intestine called? The duodenum. And attached to the duodenum, we should find what? Pancreas. So in this shark, I'll try to hold it so you can see. This is the stomach, right? This is the first turn of the duodenum. And this stuff that's lumpy, that's attached, is pancreas. I'm going to show it to you in another shark too, so see what it looks like. Over here, where we might be able to see it better. Let's see what we're doing here. Yeah, so in this shark, this is the giant stomach, right? This is the curve, the J curve of the stomach where the spleen is attached. And then attached to this first turn of the small intestine is pancreas, which is this stuff right here. The pancreas is usually kind of yellow, kind of lumpy looking, always in the same place, attached to the duodenum. So, you should be able to find it in all of your vertebrates in the same place. So after we pass through the duodenum, what are we into now? It's actually still small intestine. The shark does not have much of a large intestine at all. So this is the next part. I think in the shark they just call them the duodenum and the ileum, and the rest is kind of missing. So what's inside this ileum part of the intestine? A spiral valve, which should be cut open already on this guy. But maybe it isn't. Let's see what it looks like on this guy. So there's the stomach, there's the spleen, there's the pancreas. Now we're into the ileum of the small intestine. And if I open this, you should be able to see this thing that we call the spiral valve, which is all about surface area. It's got all this nasty yellow dye in it, so it's going to make it harder to see. And there's lots of stuff in the intestine of this shark, right? But do you guys see these little kind of spiral turns inside of the small intestine. It's actually a spiral if you were able to dissect it intact, right? So the spiral valve is just a way to cram lots more surface area into that intestine for absorption of nutrients. And let's open this guy and see if it looks any better. Yeah, that looks a lot better. See the spiral valve in the intestine on this shark. All right, so you guys see that? All these little folds and twists inside there. Okay, what else? So there's hardly any large intestine. Officially on the diagrams that I've seen, there's something that you'll want to find in your shark called a rectal gland, which is down here. It's attached by mesentery to the wall of the body cavity. But you see this long, skinny rectal gland. Anyone know what that is for? Think about a shark is a vertebrate, and it faces a particular challenge because it lives in the sea and it eats food that might be very salty.
Keep the balance of water.
Yeah. The rectal gland is mostly about salt balance, getting rid of excess salt in the diet of the shark. And so if you look where the rectal gland connects to the intestine, the little tiny part that's between the spiral valve and the cloaca, which is basically the common chamber for digestion, reproductive, and excretory system, that little tiny part is considered the colon, or the large intestine, which is almost nothing in the shark. Right, so the cloaca is that common opening, right? It's between the claspers in the male. If it was a female, there would be no claspers, right? But that cloaca is the chamber where the digestive tract empties, the reproductive tract empties, and the kidneys are going to empty all their products into that common chamber to be eliminated. So we know these guys are males, so we should have testes, right? The testes in a shark are very anterior, very strange position, way up here in the neck, right? So let's remove some of this liver out of the way, and you guys will see two testes way anterior in the body cavity of the shark. See that?
With that stuff?
Yep, those two large, really anterior organs are the testes. Yep. And you want to see it? So the testes must be connected somehow to the cloaca so that sperm can be delivered via the claspers to the female's cloaca. And the female must have paired ovaries, so I'm going to look for a female later, and potentially a uterus. You guys know about these different ways that sharks have of reproducing. There's 3 different options for sharks. And you have a table in your manual that compares those 3 options, right? So the first one is called oviparity, which means what? What's oviparity? That they lay eggs, right. They lay eggs. You guys probably have seen those little things that are called mermaid's purses sometimes lying around on the beach. Those are shark egg cases, right? I'll show you some pictures of them later on. Those are shark egg cases. So those are from oviparous species that lay eggs, just like, most reptiles and amphibians that you know. And there's another option for sharks, which is it used to be called ovoviviparity, but now in your manual that's been changed to say aplacental viviparity. So what does viviparity mean?